Appreciate everyone coming out to the Dougherty County School System. Mr. Superintendent, do we have any presentations or public comments?
Yes, ma'am. We do have presentations. Ms. Lakeisha Bruce will be facilitating our student recognitions. And I'm excited to see our students in the audience and get the opportunity to recognize them for the remarkable work they've been doing inside the classroom as well as outside the classroom. So without further ado, here comes Ms. Bruce. And if board members would like to step down and be a part.
If any board members would like to join me in the well, you can to give presentations. You know.
Good evening. Our first award goes to Mr. Christian Hernandez, Dougherty Comprehensive High School, Georgia Youth Assembly Competition, Congressional Bill officially signed into law. You come forward, Christian. Our next set of students, all from Lake Park Elementary School, they all received first place Project Award, Southwest Regional Robotics Tournament, and first place Core Value Award for Central Georgia First Lego League Super Regional Robotics Tournament. Atiba Garvey, Jace Lemon, Jamison Washington, and Zoe Kahn. And we have two students here, Westover Comprehensive High School, Ashton Anderson, first place Literature, Economics, and Art in the varsity category of the competition, and Tin Tuan Ho, first place Math in the varsity category, Westover Comprehensive High School. Are there any students that came in after we started? Okay, thank you.
Parents and staff, I know it's a school night, so if you guys would like to exit, you can, but thank you for coming. I don't want anybody to say they was at board meeting and couldn't get their homework done. Coach. We will review the agenda items to give board members an opportunity to ask questions or make comments. Well, Mr. Superintendent, will we need an executive session?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Board members, y'all, good. No executive session. Board members, do you have any questions, comments about the agenda item 1? That's the minutes, regular board meeting, January 29th. Item 2, consideration of employment. Item 3, consideration of release of personnel. 4, consideration recommendation to approve the Gear Up 2032 grant.
That's the contract,
The contract.
right, with Spectrum Red.
Okay. The Spectrum Red. Any questions?
That's for the evaluation of the program. Well,
Okay. Item 5, consideration recommendation to approve the purchase of network interface. And Ms. Dyer, can you explain
yeah, I
that?
think it was a question regarding the funding source. That's our E-rate grant, and with E-rate, they have different categories. This is a category 1, where E-rate pays for 90% of the cost, and then our general fund or SPLOST pays for 10% of the cost. So this is they have some that pay 80-20 in category 2. This is category 1 that pays 90-10. So although it's reflected in the recommendation, I want to make sure that we clarify that.
Any other questions, board members?
I have one quick question. Going back to item number 4, the Spectrum Red contract, is that paid for with the same grant through
Yes,
the Gear Up? Okay.
It's paid for through the grant. It's excluded in the Gear Up budget, and it was also included in the proposal.
Okay. Just
And
one.
they also they do the current Gear Up
Yeah.
technical assistance and evaluation, as well as our project prevent.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions, board members? Number 5, consideration recommendations to approve the purchase of network interface module. You've already explained that. 6, consideration recommendation to approve the surplus of equipment. Hearing none. Number 7, consideration of recommendation to approve fundraisers request. And just for board members' knowledge, I've asked the superintendent to give us an update on fundraisers to ensure that everybody is following within the proposed requirement.
As clarified, each school gets two school-wide fundraisers per year, and each organization within the school gets up to 2 fundraisers per year. And the chair wants to make sure that we don't have organizations exceeding those limits.
Any committee report? Thank you, Mr. Dyer.
Yes, ma'am.
Any committee reports? Board items discussion. Mr. Dyer, would you like to do your superintendent report?
Yes, ma'am. All right. Superintendent's report for February 9th, 2026. The vision of the DeWitt County school system is that we're a destination school system that in collaboration with families and community partners provides quality educational and social development experiences that equip its graduates to be successful and impactful contributors to society. The mission of the DeWitt County school system is to meet the academic and non-academic needs of its students with rigorous and relevant educational experiences that equip them to succeed in life. Our topics of discussion will be our strategic plan update, our legislative update, update on our SPLOST bonds, and our celebrations and announcements. Of course, our strategic plan has 5 priority areas: early literacy, academic rigor and relevance, student wellness, investment in human capital, and family and community engagement. Last Friday, we had a group of district and school leaders get together to get one last refinement on our strategic plan priorities. We had presentations, we had questions and answers, looked at the alignment between our vision, our mission, our core beliefs, and our strategic plan. Got some feedback. We're going to make a few adjustments, and then we should have this ready to go to the board no later than our March meeting. Of course, crossover day with the legislative update. Crossover day is March 6th. Sign die is April 2nd. Of course, the significance of crossover day is that no bill that has not crossed over from one chamber of the legislature to the other chamber can be acted upon this session. So any bill that's going to be considered be voted on and approved and signed into law will have to be approved by at least one chamber of the legislature by March 6th. And of course, signing die is the last day of this session, day 40. You know, our legislative priorities are increase early learning opportunities, add a poverty weight to our QBE funding formula, supplement the state health benefit plan costs, which are increasing again. So now the match for per employee per year is over $24,000. Then the teacher pipelines, the retiree return to work, you know, House Bill 385, which we're currently under, sunsets at the end of this school year. So we're looking at having that another version passed, which provides more flexibility than the 3 content areas that we currently have, and then increasing teacher apprenticeship opportunities. Some updates or highlights. The amended budget for FY26 includes a $2,000 one-time supplement for all certified personnel, as well as our bus drivers, our custodians, and our school nutrition workers. I've asked Ms. Hatcher and her staff to do a projection on how much it would cost for us to provide the $2,000 supplement for those employees not included in the governor's proposed budget. Senate Bill 148 increases the number of personal days that employees have available per year from 3 to 5. Senate Bill 150 is the retiree return to work bill that looks like it's getting traction. We had a bill in that was introduced in the House last year and one introduced in the Senate last year because it's considered a fiscal bill and has a fiscal impact. They had to go to a study committee and get an actuarial opinion. And there was one change made to this. Before, it had a 60-day break-in service requirement before you could return. And the estimate was that it would cost the state of $100 million per year because it would induce early retirements, they thought. So the period is now back to 1 year. So they can work as a part-time, less than half-time retiree for 1 year or not work at all. But after 1 year, they will be able to return to work full-time without having to pay teacher retirement, without having to give up their teacher retirement benefits. And the school system would pay both the employee and the employer portions of teacher retirement. I'm going to skip House Bill 1116 for now, go right back to it. Go to House Bill 1193. That was discussed today at length in this session, and it provides, adds on to the Literacy Act that was passed a couple of years ago. This initially said they were going to provide a fund one literacy coach for every elementary school for grades K through 3, along with other requirements. The most recent iteration of this proposed law is that for schools with fewer than 1,000 students, they will fund half of a literacy coach for grades 1 through 3, and a full literacy coach for any school that has, any elementary school that has at least 1,000 students. So, and they will be assigned to the RESA for each area. They will be employees of the RESA, and the RESA would select and assign them to the schools. Not exactly what we initially thought it would be. That's for every elementary school, whether it's a high-performance school or a school that struggles. So it's a lot of opportunity for improvement with this particular bill. The next is a bill that's gaining a lot of traction. House Bill 1116 is property tax exemption. The goal is to have complete exemption of property taxes for residential properties, homesteads, by 2032. It's entitled the Home Ownership Opportunity and Market Equalization Act of 2026, and it does make sweeping changes to our tax structure. It expands the statewide homestead exemption, changes how school funding capacity is calculated. It expands and auto-renews a 2-cent special sales tax called the Special District Option Sales Tax, and it will require voter approval of certain school budgets starting in 2032. I'll explain that a little later in the, yes, ma'am. All right. Number 2 in detail, a little more detail rather, it modifies the QBE equalization formula so that the value of state mandated homestead exemptions are excluded from the equalized tax digest. This is positive for school systems because the state requires us to exempt certain value so we can't levy taxes on that. But when they look at our property wealth, the exempted properties are included. And the higher our property wealth, the less we get in equalization. So this will no longer penalize school systems with the QBE equalization formula. So that is a good thing. But the challenge is the fiscal impact would change from a shift from the state, from the school systems to the state, and we'll be dependent upon the state to fully fund those exemptions. And it increases the risk. It increases our long-term reliance on state appropriations to fully fund the equalization. It does that now, but the amount would be more that they would fund because they would exempt those properties for which the state requires an exemption. So they would cause the state to have to pay more in equalization. 3, it expands and auto-renews a 2-cent special sales tax called the Special District Option Sales Tax. The sales tax can run 10 years instead of 5. I think the first one runs 5, and now that it auto-renews for 10, unless the General Assembly acts to terminate it. There's no annual cap on the revenue. However, there's no annual cap stated. However, all proceeds from the sales tax must be used only, this is the way it's written in current form, only used for property tax relief. So if the amount collected in sales tax exceeds the amount we would have collected in property tax, then the millage rate has to be rolled back the following year. Now that sounds like a good concept. And we have to understand that the local revenue is what we have to, it funds things that the state does not fund or fully fund. I just mentioned, for example, the $2,000 per employee supplement. Some employees are not included in the budget. We have to pay that out of local funds. State health benefit plan for classified employees, it's not funded by the state. It's funded out of local funds, and it's gone up. It's more than double from slightly less than $11,000 in 2016 to over $24,000 in 2026 or 2027. And classified employees, those employer matches all come from local funds, not state funds. So as that cost increases, if we're not able to increase the revenue we get from our local sources, then that's just not a good recipe. That's not a formula for success. Again, the risk is that it restricts the school system's ability to meet mandates or non-discretionary costs that are not funded by QBE or the state revenue. In addition, fuel costs increase, other costs increase with inflation, and this does not provide for an inflationary adjustment. And so that's one flaw in this plan. And another is not so much as, we'll cover that later. Number 4, it requires voter approval on certain budgets. I know I saw some faces when I said that. It's not every budget, but if a school system increases the property tax revenue by more than 3% over the prior year, or if it exceeds the rollback rate that's calculated every year, then beginning in 2032, that school system must hold a referendum on that proposed budget. Now, and if the voters reject the budget, the increase, then the board must adopt a lower revenue budget. Now, if the voters reject the referendum, then the board must adopt a lower revenue budget, which means we have to make some cuts. We had a meeting today with a member of the chair of the committee and voiced some concerns about this. It doesn't include inflationary. Now, this is if you have growth. It doesn't. The 3% is not applied to the growth. It's just on existing properties. So we had a lot of new construction. Then it would not be applied to that, and it does not apply to commercial property. The rollback does. I mean, the exemption does. It only applies to homestead properties where your residential property that you live, that's your primary residence. So, but there's some issues with this, and so it was explained that if with the current budget calendar, you can't call for a referendum and have the voters vote on it prior to the budget, the requirement to have a budget adopted, unless we do spending resolutions. So the way I understand this would work is that if the voters reject it, we would have to take the revenue adjustment out of the subsequent fiscal year's budget. It sounds a bit complicated, and it's a fairly new bill, but it's moving pretty quickly. And so I'm drafting some talking points and some concerns to send to our local delegation, as well as to the chair of the House Education Committee and the chair of the Ways and Means Committee, who handles this particular legislation, so they understand the impact it could potentially have on school systems. Key implications that one good thing is that we're no longer penalized in the QB formula for exemptions that we did not create. The state required exemptions, we get held how much for that? If the state fully funds the equalization, it does require us to have, or cause us to have a greater dependence on state funding decisions. Again, if they decide not to fund that fully, then we would be in a challenging situation. It reduces local fiscal flexibility, even with cost increase, like I mentioned before with state health. We have reduced flexibility to make those adjustments. Increase political risk in annual budgeting, meaning if we don't do the rollback rate, or if it goes to 3%, over 3%, then we would have to have a referendum. and then a potential long-term erosion of local control over our education finance. And then some other things, I didn't put all the risk in here, but one thing that I probably should have added, I'll mention, is property tax is a relatively stable source of revenue. We get all of it usually in December. This year, it's going to be more like March, about 4 months late. But we have a reserve that carry us through that tough time. Sales tax is a lot more volatile and a lot more is subject to economic shifts. And the economic cycle is the economic cycle. You're going to have times of growth, and you're going to have times of retrenchment and retraction. And during those times of economic downturn, usually people buy less, which means sales tax is a lot more volatile than property tax. And a long or protracted recession or economic downturn could cause us to have less revenue monthly. And again, we get our property tax for the most part at one time. And the bulk of it we get at one time in December, usually. We would get state sales tax monthly. So we would budget for a certain amount, but if we have an economic downturn in the middle of a fiscal year, we have teachers who are already under contract. And when 87 to 89% of your budget is personnel, and half of those personnel are under contract, you can't cut enough paper and pencil to address a sharp downturn in revenue. And so to answer that would be to have a healthy reserve. And we have a healthy reserve right now. The restriction that I mentioned earlier, that all of the overage, once you collect the amount that you would have gotten in property tax revenue through your sales, through the SDOS, the Special District Option Sales Tax, then all the rest of it has to go to sales tax relief. Property tax relief. So you can't use that overage to help build your reserve. You can't use that overage to address rising operational costs that you have no discretion regarding, like state health benefit plan, like motor fuel and diesel, like the teacher retirement match that is going up for classified employees that the state doesn't fund. So you restrict your ability to generate revenue. The way it's written, you can't use excess revenue annually to help build a reserve, not even a portion of it to help build reserves. You're relying on sales tax versus property tax, and we can debate about it being a regressive tax another time. That's another issue. We have more renters than owners in our community, so our community, the majority of our community, won't benefit from sales tax relief. I don't think that the owners of rental property are going to reduce the rent because they save money on sales tax. They're going to pocket that. So I don't think our renters or non-homeowners will benefit much from that. They won't. And for low-income folks, the sales tax is regressive because that sales tax is the same for everyone. So that argument aside, the argument from a school system standpoint is that we're relying on sales tax monthly that could be very volatile, and it would be even more difficult to forecast cash flow. And if we don't have a healthy reserve to address those ebbs and flows, dips, then we could have months where we would have to get a tan to make it work. Yeah. So I don't know if this is going to pass. I do know property tax relief is very popular for the masses, including my parents. And I can appreciate paying fewer taxes, but I also understand the implications for school systems. And so we have to be. I think that one of our most important responsibilities is our fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we have a stable school system and that we make decisions that benefit the school system and our community long term. So I think the bill as it is written has significant flaws that need to be addressed before I could be comfortable with it moving forward. Of course, now I have no vote on it. You have no vote on it. That's in the legislature. But what I am going to try to do is make sure that our legislative partners are aware of the challenges that this presents to school systems, and hopefully they can make some improvements to this bill so that it won't handcuff us as it's currently written.
And Mr. Dyer, just for board members, the call we had today, Mr. Dyer said he will be calculating, I'm sorry, not you, Ms. Hatchett knows will be calculating how it would actually affect us totally. So that will be coming to us and hopefully go to the legislature.
Just I did a brief, I know a little bit about finance, so I looked at it briefly. And about half of our digest comes from residential property. We don't know how much of that is homestead, and so we generate about $34 million a year in our property tax revenue. Our SPLOST generates about $20 million a year, about $20 million a year. So we would, that's that 1%. We would generate much more than that homestead amount. We're a retail center. That's not mine. For some smaller rural systems, that's not our responsibility. But I look at, we serve the same kids, they just live in different zip codes. And so a rural Quitman County or Randolph County or Clay County, they don't have a lot of retail, don't have a lot of sales tax. I don't know how they would be able to make this work. So there's some flaws in this, and we need to really take a look at that and help make sure our legislators are aware of those so they can make informed decisions. Again, I understand the intent and it sounds very good, but there's some unintended consequences I think that exist that we need to really address. And also, we have to look at this. There is a cap, statewide cap, 9% on sales tax. The state sales tax is 4%. Cities and counties can, with the same bill, cities and counties can levy up to an additional 3%. School systems can levy up to an additional 2%, which is, that's the 9%. Yeah. So our SPLOST would not be able to be renewed. We would have to take the SPLOST revenue and replace it with this SDOST revenue, which means we would talk about 2% to help offset operations. It's really not. That 1 cent is really going to go replacing the SPLOST. So we would have 1 cent to help offset the homestead exemptions, which is enough to offset the homestead exemptions as it's currently, as our numbers currently come in. But it's complicated, and I want to give you an update on that because it's moving pretty quickly. And so if we continue to move quickly, we may have some developments I may email you about. Very few things I email you about in between meetings in terms of bills. This is one of them I will do if we have some significant developments, particularly if we need to take a position, the board feels we need to take a particular position on it. I want to know what that position is before I take that position. But I'll be giving you some as we do our analysis, I'll send you information about how we impact Dougherty County specifically based on the projections that we're going to make. Madam Chair, is there any questions about this particular portion of my report?
Any questions, board members? Okay, go ahead.
We'll move quickly with the rest of it. As you know, we did our SPLOST bonds and we had our financing schedule. Everything went smoothly. It passed the commission with only one. I think it passed 6-1, the commission. And this week, we had a pre-closing transaction today. The closing transaction will be tomorrow. The funds should be deposited in our account tomorrow. If not, I will certainly let you know. And then we move forward with our projects. Celebrations and announcements. We had a DCSS Social Studies Fair. The winners include Best in Fair, Savannah Colbert from Westover Comprehensive High School, and they'll be coming to the board at a later meeting. Then first place winners, Daughter Comprehensive High School had Miss Devon and Mr. Butler. Had Monroe Comprehensive High School, Miss Michaela Harden. Then Westover Comprehensive High School, Savannah Colbert again, Miss Tiffany Ojo, Mackenzie Jones, Miss Hall, Miss Malaya Johnson, Quieja Arnold, Chastity Williams, and Jayla Hutchinson. And then Robert Cross Middle Magnet School, Miss Athena Garvey. You see that name again, and that was her little brother that came up earlier, and then Miss Mercado. Congratulations to those students. Last week was National School Counseling Week. We celebrated our school counselors and the work that they do to help support our students with their social and emotional needs. Kindergarten registration has opened. It opened last week. So anyone that kindergarten enrollment was down this year, and it was down across the state this year. Birth rates are lower. So that's another implication that we have to be prepared for as we make projections for future years. What was that? Yeah, Miss and one of my mentors. I had the pleasure of serving on the board for Albany Tech, and I served on the board for when Dr. Parker was there. He said, Ken, they're having an enrollment issue. He said, Ken, did I make it in the brand new 18-year-olds? And so, did I make it in the new kindergartners, 5-year-olds? And so the birth rate is the birth rate. And that's a challenge that we can't do anything about. So we have to be prepared for that. And if the kindergarten enrollment is down, then that means first grade, next year, and second grade. And if that's a trend, then you'll continue to see enrollment declines across the state. So that's something that we have to look forward in terms of our long-term projections. Then this is CTA week. CTA, of course, stands for Career, Technical, and Agricultural Education. And it'll feature activities across the district that highlight student learning and career exploration. And it's a vital part of our relevance part of our strategic plan, academic rigor and relevance. Priority number 2. CCAE plays a vital role in our relevance, educational relevance. And part of the celebration of middle school students who visit CCA programs, explore pathways, and experience hands-on learning, helping them begin thinking earlier about future career possibilities. This is Black History Month, and you'll be seeing on our social media accounts. Yes, ma'am, they've already started. And you'll see activity there with students talking about Black history and what it means to them. And also, I think the one today, you had a group of students that recognized one of our freedom singers, and they did a portion of a song recognizing her in honor of her. Then we have our Career Fair and Job Expo scheduled for March 14th. Of this year, from 10 to 12 at the Albany Civic Center. That's all I have, but I do want to bring to your attention, I'll have a slide on it next year. We participate in the Reed Bowl as part of our, that's Malcolm Mitchell Share the Magic Foundation. That's a foundation that's reached, it's founded in Georgia, it reaches nationwide, worldwide actually, and well, at least nationwide. I don't want to say world, but I think worldwide, but I'm sure nationwide. And so we've been participating the last several years. We've had state champions. We've had, because we celebrate our local champions, and we've had our first national champion. Albany Middle School is ranked #1 at the end of the competition for 8th graders in the nation. Wow! So congratulations to Albany Middle, and we will certainly celebrate them at a later date at a board meeting. That's all I have, Madam Chair. Is there any questions?
Anyone has questions? Mr. Dyer, I did get someone stop me the other day and said that they've gone to several schools. I don't go to schools, but none of the schools are recognizing when they talk about Black history by our own Alice Coachman. So I had a parent to stop me and say she's gone to several schools and they have everybody on there but our own. So I don't know how that can get out to them to remind them she's one of ours. So every school at least should have a picture somewhere.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That was 2 minutes of grocery shopping I had
All
to
right.
wait.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you, sir. Any other information needs to come before the board? Yeah, so we're gonna stand for the, close out the briefing, stand for the pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May be seated. Again, welcome to the regular board meeting. I call this meeting to order. Mr. Superintendent, do we have any public comments or presentations?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Board members, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Oh, go ahead.
Offer motion that we adopt the agenda from our mid-month board meeting.
I second.
It's been properly moved and second to adopt the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The agenda is adopted. Do we have any changes to the minutes of the regular board meeting held on January 2026? You were here?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I get an interim motion to approve the minutes?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Huntley?
I move that we approve.
Second motion.
Second motion. It's been properly second and approved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes are approved. Okay. I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items. Let me call them out, 2 through 7.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Do we have any announcements or comments from the superintendent or any board members?
None for me, ma'am.
I'd like to announce the transition of Dr. Lucia Wilson, who was a significant personality at Albany State University and beyond, with one of the finest nursing programs in the country. And her services are due to be Saturday morning at 10 a.m. at Mount Zion Baptist Church.
Thank you, Ms. Huntley.
You're welcome.
Any other announcements? Do we have any other business to address? Okay, if not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned.